So many people lost so much during Harvey's flooding, but there are ways to get at least some of your memories back.
This morning, Museum of the Gulf Coast curator Sarah Bellian joins us to show us how to restore those damaged pictures. I'm telling you, I only lost it, like just cried hard.
Yeah, this is the stuff that's irreplaceable, so if you can save
these
it, by
types
all
of things
means.
were lost. And the big thing, I guess, with my pictures, I mean, I separated them. It took me hours, but I thought if I can just save that, I couldn't save the paper, like the love notes from my kids and their art projects and that. But I had stacks and stacks that were put in bins that completely filled with water of pictures. And you call them picture bricks?
Picture bricks. Yeah, a lot of people, unfortunately, right now have picture bricks, which is just a congealed mess of photographs and documents and other things like that. It's not impossible to separate these out. Some of this you might see some loss, like this one here, where you see how all this is literally the image itself has just deteriorated.
And a lot of that too, as I grabbed the pictures, they would smear.
They smear.
Right?
Well, and that has to do with how the photo printing process is different now from how it used to be. Older pictures are actually probably going to fare better because of the way they were developed. And what we can do, though, is usually when you have a brick, you may have some on the top that are really damaged like this. You may have some on the bottom that are really damaged. But there will be photos in the middle that actually are okay because the other photos are creating a seal around them. So you don't have to throw that whole brick out. What you actually want to do is make some photo wash, which I brought some here, and then you can stick the bricks in there if they're starting to dry and slowly kind of separate them apart. And that'll help you to save some of those pictures.
Yeah, and this is household items that anyone can use.
Everybody has this at home. This is nothing special. This is basic. What I use to clean things that have been damaged by floodwater is either a bleach solution. That's not for photos, but if you want to wash a book, like a book is starting to mildew, it's a 10% bleach solution. That's not as much as you wash your floor with. It shouldn't even smell like bleach.
Okay.
And then for photos, it is a free and clear, no perfume added, no color added dish soap. Dawn makes one. The Target brand makes one. This is a natural dish liquid called 7th Generation. I bought this by case, like, you know.
So what do you do with that?
You put a little bit of it in distilled water.
Does it matter how much? You just kind of guess?
Just a little bit. You don't want it to be really sudsy. Again, you're not washing your dishes.
Right.
So a lot of dishes, detergents that are not the free and clear kind have like extra degreaser in them. And that's actually just going to eat these pictures worse.
Okay, so it has to be the kind without all those extra things.
Nothing else in it.
And distilled water, not regular bottled water.
Well, regular bottled water is not that bad. The problem is we don't want to use our tap water because, as a lot of you know already, our tap water's got all kinds of stuff we don't want in it.
Sure.
And if it's not good for you, it's definitely not good for your photos either. A photo is basically a chemical reaction on paper. So if you think about it that way, the more chemicals you introduce to it, the more risk you're undertaking.
Okay, I have a question. So is this for the bricks that have already dried? What if they're still wet? Mine were still wet. I separated them, and then I laid them out in the sun, and they kind of warped it. And some around my house, I had pictures everywhere. It's the only thing I could save besides a few stopping wet clothes. But they kind of warped a little bit, but I mean, I was able to preserve most of the pictures.
Sure. Like for instance,
this one got a little muddy. I don't know if you can show this.
Well,
can you save that? I don't know
yes.
how.
And this is the thing. You can wash them if they're dry too, but there's one thing you want to watch out for. Some of these have already started to deteriorate. So one thing you need to do is to take either a Q-tip or a towel. You want to get a little bit of your photo water on it. We want to take a corner that's not important to the image, like maybe down here.
Okay.
And we want to see if I rub it a little bit, am I taking the image
The actual image off, right.
Is it coming off? It is coming off a little bit. So I probably
just keep it
don't
like that.
Want to wash this one.
Okay.
I might be able to get it a little bit cleaner, but I definitely don't want to dunk it in the water if it's already coming apart.
Because you may lose the whole entire thing.
You might lose the whole thing. But I mean, we can take some of the dirt off of it.
Now, what is the alcohol for?
You can wash stuff. Alcohol will kill germs, and as a lot of you also know, this water that we've had get into most of our homes has a lot of bacteria in it. And if you're trying to save things, you really don't want to save something that is got...
So like this book, I was sopping wet, but it has a lot of
A lot of memories.
pictures and
Right.
that. What do I do
Well,
with that? I don't want to throw it away, but I can't really.
You want to take it apart
You
because
smell that? It smells
well,
amazing, right?
as it is, it's not going to dry right.
Okay.
And this is the thing with anything that's a book, scrapbook, anything else like that. You want to go ahead and get yourself a mat knife if you need one. This one's a 3-ring binder, so it can just come apart. But if
Okay.
you're cutting a book open, you're just going to cut the binding. So if we pick this up and look at the binding of the binder, imagine this is a book. We're just going to cut it here. We're going to cut it here. We're going to pop the binding straight off, and then we're going to separate it out. So if you have a scrapbook, you can't just sit a scrapbook on your car like this to dry. It's
Oh,
going to be a moldy
at that.
mess. Everybody does it. I mean, I'm not accusing anybody, but
Yeah.
you know that's
Yeah,
why it's
with
not
those
going to
moments,
dry
you don't
right.
know what to do.
Yeah.
Right?
So if you separate this all out, if we open this up, we're going to get the plastic off of everything in here.
Okay.
We're going to separate it
dry
all
them.
out, every single piece separate, get them to dry somewhere where you have air circulation, and that's actually what this is.
Yeah, we're running short on time. We're going to continue
No
our
problem.
demonstration on Facebook Live,
Okay.
so you can join us over there at the end of the show. But we do have
Love
to
your knowledge.
wrap this party. Yeah, we something we all need to know, and we'll be back with more after this. Stay with us.